Hey guys, I'm Archie, and welcome to the first video in my SDL2 tutorial series. SDL is a library written in the C programming language, and it allows you to do many things, like making a window, drawing to that window, processing events like clicking your keyboard. So SDL is very useful, and we're going to be looking at all those things in this series. We're going to be writing everything in C++ using Visual Studio 2013, although if you have 2015 that's fine, it'll work just as well. And to make a point clear, SDL is not here for you to do very intensive graphics. If you're looking to make some game engine that supports, 3D rendering and whatnot, SDL is not for that. That's where you would use something like OpenGL or DirectX, although you would still use SDL for the other features that it gives, like processing events. But SDL really allows you to do just basic 2D rendering, like making a Snake game or Tetris or Pong or Brick Breaker, those kinds of things, where there's not too much going on, it's not so complex. I wouldn't even look at SDL as really a graphics library. I think it's more used for all the other useful features that it has. But we will definitely be able to do 2D graphics in this series, and I'll show all of that. In this video, we're just going to be getting SDL set up, and that's very easy. Essentially, we're going to download the SDL library in like a RAR file, and this library contains three main types of files. It has header files, which we're going to use in our project. It has lib files and DLL files. What we're going to have to do is tell Visual Studio where to look for the header files and lib files, and we're going to put the DLL files in the executable directory. If this sounds confusing, don't worry about it. It really is easy, and I'll show you how to do all of this. The first thing you need to do is open up your web browser, and then search SDL 2.0 download. Then go ahead and click on this link, and scroll down to where you see development libraries, and go ahead and click on Visual C++ 32 and 64-bit. This should download pretty quickly. Here it is. I'm just going to minimize Google Chrome. And here is the download. You could open it up, just extract this out. You could close the RAR and delete it. And here it is, SDL 2.0.4. So inside here it has everything that we need. So inside this include folder, it has all the header files. Inside this lib file, you can choose whether you want to use 64-bit or 32-bit. My computer is 64-bit, but we are going to be using 32-bit because I find that it works better for me for some reason. So if you go inside here, you'll see the DLL that we'll need and the lib files that we'll need. Alright, so we have everything downloaded. Now go ahead and go into Visual Studio 2013, and we're just going to be making a new project. So go ahead and click File, New, and click Project. Then make sure you go into Visual C++, click Empty Project, call it whatever you want. I'll call it SDL, that's not SDL, SDL Tutorials, and select a folder I want to save it in. I'm going to browse for it, and go ahead and click OK. I'm going to click Cancel on this, and go ahead and right click on Source Files, click Add, New Item, click C++ file, and you could just call it main. And there we go. Now we have our source file. You can minimize Visual Studio now, and then go into your project directory. So here is the folder for my project. I'm going to go inside it, and this is where we're going to put all the files that we need from the SDL library. So right click and make a new folder. We're going to call it dependencies, or deps for short. Now inside this folder, now go inside the SDL library that we downloaded. I'll just move this here. First, just go ahead and drag the include folder inside here. Then make a new folder called lib. Go inside the lib folder. Now go inside the lib folder in the SDL library. We're going to go into the 32-bit one, and then drag these three lib files inside there. Now go back, and we're actually going to need to build our project one time. So I'm just going to make an int main and run it. So there we go, it built. Now we have a debug folder. Go inside the debug folder, and this is where you're going to drag in the sdl2.dll. Now you can just close out of the SDL library folder, and we have everything in our project where it needs to be. So go inside the project, and now we're going to mess around with the project's properties. So click on Project, then click on Properties, click on Configuration Properties, and first we're going to go into VC++ directories. First click on Include Directories, click Edit, and then double click here, and then click the three dots, and then just go into your deps folder, and then double click on Include, and then select this Include folder. Then click OK. Now for the library directories, it's going to be very similar. Just go inside here, click Edit, click here, three dots, go into deps, now lib, and select this folder. Click OK. So now we've just told Visual Studio where to look for all the header files, or the include directories, and we've also told Visual Studio where to look for all the lib files. Next we're going to go into Linker, go to Input, and then go into Additional Dependencies. Click Edit, and this is where we're going to actually list the lib files we need to include in this project. First, write sdl2.lib, and second, write sdl2 main.lib, the same way that I just did. Then go ahead and click OK, click Apply, and OK. And now you can erase what we have here. Now SDL should be included in our project. So what we're going to do, first let us include Iostream so we can print things out. Then we're going to go ahead and make a main function, but we're actually going to have to put the command line arguments in. So first write int argc, and then put char, you can put a double pointer, argv. And it doesn't have to be a double pointer, it could be like this as well, but I like putting it as double pointer. Now let's also include sdl.h. sdl.h. And we could try initializing SDL. So let's just go ahead and do SDL_init. And then here's where we put some flags. We could just do SDL_init everything, which will initialize all of SDL's components. And we can actually turn this into an if statement. If SDL init does not equal 0. Now we could just simply put it like this, but I think it makes more intuitive sense if you do does not equal 0, because 0 means that it initialized successfully, and anything that's not 0 means that it failed. So we're saying if it's not 0, which means it failed, we're going to print out, I'll do cerr, SDL failed to initialize. And then I'll make an else statement saying success. Let's just go ahead and, oh yeah, we can't run this yet, we actually have to return 0. It's required. So now you can run it. And it says we have an error saying entry point must be defined. I know how to fix this. Go to Project, click on your Properties, go to Linker, and then click System. And where it says Subsystem, click this arrow, and make sure it's set to Console. Click Apply, OK. Now if we run it, it says Success. So this means we were able to set everything up successfully, and SDL works. Now I know we didn't really do anything so interesting in this video, all we did was set up SDL, but I promise you in the next video it'll get better and we'll actually make a window, and eventually we'll start drawing stuff, and maybe I'll even show you guys how to make a simple game. But that's about it for this video. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you next time.